Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm here with Jude, Cade, and Tunger, and we're going to talk about 2020 events. Our first of 4 2020 topics is about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was an American basketball player who spent 20 years with the Los Angeles Lakers. He broke many NBA records and won 5 titles with the Lakers and is considered one of the all-time greats. This past year, Kobe, his daughter, and 6 others crashed into the side of a mountain on the way to an AAU basketball game. All of them passed on impact. It was very sad. This death impacted the NBA world, but most importantly, the whole world in general. He was an outstanding player, father, husband, son, writer, movie producer, and businessman, and will be very missed throughout the world.
In other big news this year, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died at the age of 87 after becoming the second woman to serve on the Supreme Court. She died from complications of having pancreatic cancer. She had served on the court for 27 years as a prominent justice and a proud advocate of women's rights. She was the liberal leader of the court, and her death was immediately made to be a political issue. The time of her death makes it so that it was now President Trump's job to appoint a new justice. This gave Republicans the opportunity to take a 6-3 majority in the court. This has sparked the debate of whether or not a justice can be appointed during an election year. It has been a very cloudy debate as everyone has switched positions over the last 4 years. In the election year of 2016, President Barack Obama tried to appoint Merrick Garland to the court, but was blocked by a Republican Senate. The Democratic Party was upset with this and pointed out that there was nothing in the Constitution that said you couldn't appoint a justice during an election year. One of the most prominent advocates of this at the time was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, reminding people of the fact that it doesn't say anything in the Constitution about this. Fast forward to this year, and everyone has switched positions, with the Democratic Party stating that you can't appoint a justice during an election year, and Republicans saying that it isn't said anywhere in the Constitution. However, the Senate is still Republican, making it so that the Democratic Party wasn't able to stop the appointment like the Republicans were in 2016. President Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court with a Senate confirmation of a 52-48 vote along party lines other than one Republican senator. She is an originalist, meaning she interprets the Constitution for what it directly says and what she believes that the intention of the Founding Fathers was, rather than seeing the Constitution as a living and moving document that fluctuates with the times. Based off of her past decisions, the Roe v. Wade decision has become one that could be called into question in the near future, to the fear of many people on the left, and for others, some look at this as a positive thing. But this is something we will need to look out for, as keeping up with her decisions in future court cases will be very important and could be very influential moving forward.
We will now send it to the 38 baby Jude 40 talking about the California wildfires.
So amongst all the other craziness in 2020, the devastating wildfires have destroyed close to 4.5 million acres of land. That's over 4% of California's total land acreage. As of recently, there have been 9,279 recorded fires, and that makes it the largest wildfire season in modern history. Although climate change and difficult wind conditions, poor forest management, and other factors have contributed to the spread of the wildfires, the main cause has been the thousands of dry lightning strikes, especially in Northern California. Another issue that has arisen is the severe amount of smoke that's coming up in the air, and it's worsening the air quality. And each year, air pollution alone kills 4.2 million people with up to premature deaths on average. From respiratory problems, lung cancer, and more. But this year with COVID-19, this is especially worrying because the numbers in California have increased because of the smoke and poor air quality. The smoke that's produced by the fires impairs the body's ability to fend off the pathogens, and it ultimately paralyzes the respiratory cilia, which is the immune system or the body's first line of defense against viruses and sicknesses.
So, for our fourth and final event of 2020, I am talking about the coronavirus in the National Football League, the NFL. So, the NFL made a decision back in the beginning of season to cancel the preseason, which usually is around 4 games that each team gets to play, to see who's going to make the 52-man roster and just to see how the season's going to play out. So they canceled that, but they decided to go through with the 16-game season, even with the pandemic. So they were not going to follow the NBA in like the bubble concept to where they were pretty much locked in a hotel room or hotel building and were not allowed to see their family until the season was over or go out or do any of those fun activities. Along with the NHL, they did the same thing. So also, teams they've had to reschedule games all season with the pandemic. They have daily tests. I'm pretty sure it's even more than once a day, just to make sure that they aren't spreading it to other teams while they play them. There are tons of protocols in the league right now. So they have limited the number of people to travel with teams and people that are on the field. People who are not going to be substitutes or going to enter the game at all have to be wearing a mask, no matter if they're wearing their helmet or not. They've also said a thing about the neck gaiter, where they can't just wear one, they have to wear 2. They're going to wear the neck gaiter. Coaches, play callers all have to wear masks. Post-game interaction, where let's say people want to switch jerseys or take pictures, that's very limited right now. They're really just want the coaches to shake hands, everybody maybe fist bump, and then head to the locker room. Usually what they think is the safest thing to do. Each sideline during these Sunday games have 2 people designated to each team to focus on Corona and enforce the rules on the sidelines. Let's see, testing, obviously every time they come in to the facilities. They also have to have virtual meetings now because the spread is so large when they have these large gatherings, so they must have virtual meetings. Pretty much same thing going on here. They have contact tracing, so if somebody in your position group has it, they have to go back at the film, look at the film practice and see who you've been around and who you've been talking to pretty much. Would you like to add anything?
Sure. So it's affected the NFL a lot this year, and to name one team in particular, it's affected the Ravens a lot. They were in a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers about a week or so ago. A game that had gotten pushed back about 3 or 4 times because so many of the Ravens players had COVID. And they ended up having to play the game with their good 3rd string quarterback and also their 3rd string running back. And they still almost managed to beat the overrated Pittsburgh Steelers and also their 3rd string running back. And they still almost managed to beat the overrated Pittsburgh Steelers, but they closely fell. And a player on the Ravens, Des Bryant, was pulled off the field randomly during a warm-up during last night's game to go get a test, and he tested positive for COVID. And he's being really excited about the season, announced on Twitter that he was quitting because he just couldn't deal with it anymore. So it's had a great effect on the NFL.
So yeah, that's our last final event.
38 baby, you want to add anything?